The Little Mechanic by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Summary. Isaac Newton, born on Christmas Day in 1642, showed early promise in inventing ingenious toys and gadgets. Raised by his grandmother, he built remarkable clocks and demonstrated a keen interest in various machines. Although his neighbors anticipated him becoming a famous furniture maker or architect, some suggested sending him to a clockmaker. Newton's early creations included a water clock and a sundial. As he grew older, his curiosity expanded to more profound subjects. Nathaniel Hawthorne's engaging biography chronicles Newton's transition from observing windmills to unraveling the mysteries of light and gravitation. Knighted and honored, Newton remained humble, symbolized by a metaphor of a child exploring pebbles beside the vast ocean of undiscovered truth. About the author. Nathaniel Hawthorne, 1804 to 1864, was an American novelist and short story writer, renowned for his exploration of dark psychological and moral themes in his works. Born in Salem, Massachusetts, he descended from Puritan settlers, influencing his fascination with the complexities of human nature and the consequences of sin. His most famous works include The Scarlet Letter and The House of the Seven Gables, both reflecting his keen insight into the human psyche and his critique of the rigid moral codes of his Puritan ancestors. Hawthorne's writings contributed significantly to the development of American literature and explored the intricacies of guilt, redemption, and societal expectations. Question 1. Read the extracts and answer the questions. Extract 1. The neighbors looked at the sundial in the sunshine. Para 3 to 7. Question 1. What high hopes did Isaac's grandmother have for her grandson's future? What hopes did the neighbors have? Answer. Isaac's grandmother thought that Isaac would be an excellent workman when he grew up. She was sure that he would do well in the world. Some of her neighbors may have thought that Isaac would make beautiful furniture. Some may have thought that he would become an architect who would build great mansions and churches with tall steeples. Yet others may have thought that he would become a clockmaker when he grew up. Question 2. Indeed, there was every reason to believe that Isaac would become a clock manufacturer. Why does the author make this statement? What did Isaac do to prove the statement right? Answer. Isaac had great mechanical skill. Apart from that, he had a good knowledge of mathematics. With this combination of skills, he could easily become a clock manufacturer. Isaac made a kind of clock that nobody had ever heard of before. Question 3. How could Isaac's grandmother tell the time of day, whether it was bright or cloudy? Answer. Isaac had made a sundial which could tell the time when it was bright and sunny. He had also made a clock which was set to work by the dropping of water. The sundial and the water clock helped his grandmother tell the time whether it was bright or cloudy. Question 4. What was unique about this ingenious piece of work? How did Isaac's grandmother benefit from that? Answer. It was unique in a way that it worked by the dropping of water and not by wheels and weights like other clocks. Isaac also made a sundial besides the water clock. His grandmother was never at a loss to know the time, as the water clock would tell the time in the shade and the sundial in the sunshine. Extract 2. Isaac had a wonderful ability, seen in the whole world. Para 8 to 11. Question 1. Why is the wind called inconstant and ungovernable? Answer. The wind has been called inconstant because the wind keeps changing both speed and direction. It can blow however it likes, gently as a breeze or strongly as a storm. It is ungovernable because no one can control the wind. Question 2. What did Isaac make the wind do? How? Answer. Isaac made the wind tell him the measure of its strength. He did this by jumping against the wind. By the length of his jump he could calculate the force of the wind. Question 3. What kind of a windmill did Isaac build? Did it actually work? How can you tell? Answer. Isaac built a small model windmill. It was complete in its parts and machinery. It had little linen sails that whirled around when there was a wind. We know that the model windmill really worked because if wheat was put into the little hopper of the windmill, it would be converted into flour. Question 4. What do we learn about Isaac Newton from the way the writer describes how he observed the windmill? Answer. We can understand that Isaac Newton, even as a boy, was interested in new things. He was patient and curious. He was also intelligent enough to study and understand the mechanism of a new machine, in this case, the new windmill. Question 5. Why did Isaac spend a lot of time near the windmill? What did this prompt him to make? Answer. Isaac was born with a curious mind and had a wonderful ability to acquire knowledge from anything around him. As a young boy, he was greatly impressed by the windmill near his grandmother's house. Its new technology fanned his quest to learn something new. He would spend hours examining its various parts, and when the windmill wasn't working, he would examine its internal machinery. His sharp mind grasped every detail of the windmill's mechanism, and then after gaining thorough knowledge, he learnt to build a model of the windmill. It could do everything that a giant windmill did, and this creation of Isaac enchanted all his playmates. Question 6. Why would the neighbors suggest that he should be trained as a clockmaker? How did they know he would be good at making clocks? Answer. The boy Isaac was as interested in mathematics as in making mechanical things, and the two would help him in making clocks. They suggested this because he had invented the water clock that kept time by dropping water. Extract 3. As Isaac grew older, it was found undiscovered before me. Para. 12 to 15. Question 1. How did Isaac Newton study the mechanism of the universe? Answer. Isaac Newton studied the mechanism of the universe by reading books on mathematics and natural philosophy. He also thought deeply about different things. For instance, he gazed curiously at stars and wondered about their nature, distance, and power. Question 2. Which discoveries by Isaac Newton does the text mention? Answer. The text mentions that Isaac Newton was the first to find out the nature of light. He discovered the force of gravitation, and then figured out all the laws by which planets are guided through the sky. Question 3. How was Isaac honored, and how did he feel about such recognition? Answer. Isaac was knighted and made a member of Parliament. But he was humble about his knowledge, for he knew how much more there was to be learnt about nature. Question 4. In the statement, the sea or the ocean has been compared to truth. What has been represented as a curious shell or a pretty pebble? Why? Answer. In this statement, the discoveries that Isaac Newton made, or the laws and mechanisms which he understood, have been represented as a curious shell or a pretty pebble. These discoveries have been called curious and pretty because they are wonderful and interesting. They have been compared to shells and pebbles because although they were very important in themselves, they were small compared to the vast ocean of truth, the many things which Isaac Newton had not been able to understand. Question 5. Why do you think Isaac Newton saw himself as a child in this image? What feelings does the statement express? Answer. Isaac Newton saw himself as a child in this image because he felt as small, curious, wondering and excited, and as inexperienced as a child compared to the vast ocean of truth that guides our universe. The statement expresses wonder at the workings of the world, the many laws and truths that still lie undiscovered. It expresses curiosity to know these truths. It also expresses humbleness. It shows that Isaac Newton, far from feeling proud of his achievements, was wise enough to realize that there were still many things to be understood and discovered, and thus felt humble and small instead of feeling grand and important. Question 6. About whom does the writer give us greater details, Isaac the child or Isaac the grown-up scientist? Why do you think that is? Answer. The writer gives us greater details about Isaac the child. This may be because he was trying to describe how Isaac Newton's genius showed itself right from his childhood. He may also focus on Newton's childhood to make his story more interesting to young readers. Question 7. How did Isaac spend his time as he grew older? What kept him intrigued? How did his curiosity help him? Answer. Isaac spent time reading books on mathematics and science during the day, and at night he watched the stars and wondered if there were worlds like our own, how far they were from the Earth and what kept them in their orbits. His curiosity enabled him to discover the nature of light and the force of gravitation, and thus to explain the interrelatedness of everything in the universe. Question 8. How did Isaac explain how little he knew? What does this tell us about one of the greatest modern scientists? Answer. Isaac compared himself to a little child, and the knowledge he had gained, to a smooth pebble or a pretty seashell that had fascinated the child, while the knowledge yet to be discovered was like the ocean. He was a humble man who was overawed by the mysteries of nature yet to be unraveled. Appreciating the text. Question A. What role did Isaac's grandmother have in bringing out the best in him? Answer. Isaac's grandmother, under whose care he grew up, was able to observe how intelligent he was. Young Isaac showed exceptional skill in mechanics and took great pleasure in making unique objects. His grandmother was never tired of talking proudly about her grandson. The strength and support that grandmother gave Isaac during his young age must have laid the foundation for what he became in later years. Question B. What did everyone think Isaac would become after he grew up? Answer. First, his grandmother was confident that Isaac would become an excellent workman and that he would be very successful in life. Some of his grandmother's friends thought he would make beautiful furniture and sell it to rich people, while some others felt he would become an excellent architect and would build beautiful mansions as well as churches. Question C. What quality of Isaac was most impressive, according to you? Answer. Isaac Newton had many qualities that would have helped him achieve great heights in life. He had a curious mind and felt that everything around him offered him something to learn. That quality of Isaac led to many discoveries. Apart from always looking for something to learn, he was also determined and focused. Even as a young boy, he was constantly busy creating something. All the above qualities led him to reach greater heights in his life. But the most impressive quality was his modesty. For him, there was no end to learning. Even after he became old and had achieved a lot in life, he thought he knew very little in comparison to what remained to be known. Question D. Why does the writer connect Isaac's ability to make the windmill as a child with his scientific discoveries as a man? Answer. The writer shows us that Isaac's innate curiosity, even as a child, about the mechanism that holds things together and makes them work, enabled him to grow into a famous scientist. Question E. What information and hint about Isaac Newton does the writer give in the opening paragraph? What does that tell you about what kind of text this is? Answer. In the opening paragraph, the writer tells us when and where Isaac Newton was born. He also tells us that Newton would go on to explain many ideas which had always been a mystery to human beings. This introduction tells us that this might be a text about Newton's life and achievements, his biography. Question F. In what order does the author present the story of Isaac Newton's life? How is this order particularly suitable for this kind of text? Answer. The text begins with Isaac Newton's birth. It then goes on to tell us more about his childhood, how talented and skillful he was even as a child. The text finally ends with a mention of some of the important discoveries made by Newton and some of the honors he received. This order is very suitable for a biography as it presents the facts of Newton's life in the order that they happened, beginning with his birth, going on to his childhood, then his adulthood, and finally ending at a stage where he is established and recognized as a great scientist. It presents the events in the sequence in which they happened and thus gives the readers a clear idea of Newton's life.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more updates.